Alright, what's up everybody? Here's the story about my trip to Mexico. There's some curveballs. It turned out a little different than I expected, but enjoy.
Here I am. I'm at the airport. Taking it all in. I got my sandwich and my Gatorade. I'm ready to go to Mexico. We're here, San Diego. Got a needle disposal in the back end.
Look at the exchange rate.
This is my bedroom for the next couple weeks. Got a hot tub. Closet, it's bigger than my current bedroom at home. Here's the pool. Morning. I'm here in Tijuana. I was woken up by I think there's some like street dogs making some strange noises there. I think maybe they're fighting. I'm just in my back window. I'm in this first night of treatment. This place is fucking huge. It's maybe the biggest house I've ever been in. Yeah, so far so good. I got a good night's sleep, which I haven't gotten in ages. They gave me like just a little medication before bed. But you know, I feel fine so far. You know, I had come from not doing so hot in the past month with the extra work that I kind of had to do, and just been, you know, struggling for so long. But now, you know, I'm here. It looks like my plan may change a little bit. You know, I was supposed to, I think, originally I thought I'd be transitioning to morphine for like 2 months. But it looks like they may be just giving me some Ibogaine today, and then if I still feel sick, they can give me something. But I don't know. I guess it's all a little uncertain. But you know, I think I do get to decide, like, you know, throughout if you know how I want to do this. But we'll see. If any of you have gotten off methadone or have done anything with Ibogaine before, you can leave your advice or anything in the comments. But you know, I think I'm gonna go for it. Yeah, I'll keep y'all updated.
So that was the day that I first kind of discovered that things were kind of going to be weird and different, much different than they were the first time that I had done the treatment. They gave me a really small dose of the Ibogaine on that day. Though, you know, it's still a pretty powerful, I think the most powerful hallucinogen in the world, you know, it definitely was strong. You know, I when it kicked in, I started having this kind of like lucid. When I closed my eyes, I felt like I was kind of just in this lucid world, like under train tracks of Brooklyn, and it had this kind of dark aura to it. But you know, I started to come down after like an hour or two, and I got really nauseous. You know, I started puking. But you know, they still had to give me morphine that night. Then the second time they gave me a slightly larger dose, like 2 or 3 days later, and that didn't do anything at all. So that's why you'll see, like, I was in pretty bad withdrawal for a lot of the time there.
Sun's poking through.
Guess there's that dog keeps barking.
Finally got the IV in. I guess this is supposed to be something that's gonna cleanse my body out. I've been starting to eat better. Yeah, this one wasn't that hard to get in, but this morning they had a hell of a time trying to give me a blood test. Like, all my veins are so fucked up. Hopefully no more stabbing myself I have to do. Dinners have been awesome. Food has all been awesome. South American mangoes are the
shit. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to go back to eating shit in America.
It's been a rough 24 hours. So everybody, been another tough day. Yesterday wasn't a tough day. Most of them so far have been pretty tough. This was a lot more difficult than the first time I did this treatment. I mean, now I've been methadone for a good part of like 15 years, so I'm sure my body is just like, what the fuck is going on? But you know, I've talked to them. Like, they keep kind of pushing back against what I'm saying when I'm trying to explain. You know, they tell me to tell them if I'm in pain, and you know, I tell them, and then they keep kind of pushing back at that. I mean, they'll agree to, like, you know, try giving me my medication like an hour sooner, and then the new sleep medicine they gave me last night, it did actually really help. I was able to sleep through most of the night from like 11 to 5 in the morning, which also didn't sleep at all the past like 2 days, which was good. Yeah. But then it's right when I start to feel a little bit better, and then they just quickly cut it in half again, and then I'm back to square one, which is kind of frustrating. But you know, I've made it through this long, which means at least, you know, while being this under medicated for this long, must mean that I'm at least a little bit closer to in the clear. Sorry if it's a little shaky, like my hands are shaking. But yeah, tomorrow is my full treatment, which is supposed to finally be the one that will, you know, push me over and at least probably get me through a couple days. Hopefully that will be the end, but you know, we'll see. Really wish I had some weed. Been another pretty rough day. I think today's has been roughest day yet, honestly, which is a little discouraging about this method that they're planning to take nowadays. I mean, like, now that I thought I was pretty proud of myself that I've been able to go these past couple of days with just like 1 or 2 morphines a day. And you know, I was really surprised that I was able to get through it. But today, I woke up at like 1 a.m. I mean, yesterday was pretty rough. I was up all day, struggling through a good amount of the day. But like, I was able to keep my mind calm enough that I could at least like watch some videos. But then, you know, finally got another morphine at like 5 or 6 p.m. I think. And some sleeping medicine, cyclobenzaprine, I think, which finally I was able to get some sleep. And I woke up at 1 a.m. and then like from 1 to 6 a.m. was just hell. It just felt like I was gripping on for my life. But now that I think about it, you know, I've only been off of methadone really for like 3 days. You know, and it has a 48-hour half-life, so I mean, it kind of makes sense that today I'd still be in pain. Yeah, I mean, I think that seemed to be the reason why, you know, switching to morphine for 2 months seemed to be like a smarter move, because it gives more time for the methadone withdrawal to leave and the shorter acting withdrawal to come on. So I mean, I don't really know if I'm hoping things are going to get better. I'm supposed to take a slightly larger Ibogaine dose today, which I'm sure that will help when that finally comes around, but that probably will be like 5 p.m. so it could be a long 7 hours. I guess maybe get more medicine if I need to, even though it seems like that's backpedaling a bit. But I mean, I don't know. It shouldn't. I should be taking like 300 milligrams of morphine a day. So 90 or even 60 is not that bad. So I'll do what I have to do. But you know, I'll let you guys know how this next Ibogaine experience goes. Well, today's my big day. I slept through the night, which was good. I woke up
feeling pretty shaky. But my full Ibogaine treatment is supposed to be in like 2.5 hours about. So hang in there, and I'm ready to do this.
So I took the full dose of Ibogaine, waited about an hour and a half or so, and it thankfully did kick in, and it was a beautiful experience. Not quite as vivid and powerful as I remember from doing previous treatment, so it's kind of hard to explain. But then after about an hour and a half, it started to wear off, which was pretty disappointing. And then nights after that, I had kind of sleepless, kind of crazy thoughts, which also kind of hard to explain. But it wasn't like I was in another world like I remember from having this experience in the past. So I got back to America, especially after a flight that felt like it took an eternity. I thought maybe that being back in my own element, being able to say hi to all my kitties again would make me feel somewhat better. But I quickly realized that I still could not sit still for the life of me. My anxiety was through the roof. I was restless as hell. Still couldn't stop puking. And they wouldn't send me home with any of the medications they were giving me to be somewhat comfortable while I was there. And I was, just taking all these benign medications that I take already that weren't doing anything. I tried smoking some weed. I thought maybe that would make me feel better. Made me feel a little bit better. I took a bunch of hot showers, eating popsicles, my usual go-to to battle withdrawals. But really, after 3 days of just white-knuckling it, feeling fucking horrible, I couldn't take it anymore. And, I did the only thing that I really knew would make me feel better. And, started doing a small amount of heroin, not really to get high, but just, I was so desperate to sit still and to get my appetite back and get some sleep. And that it did help me with.
So there you have it. Kind of a drag, that the treatment wasn't a success, and that I ended up, relapsing after all of that. But it was just kind of what I needed at that point. I was going delirious. I hadn't slept in like 8 or 9 days. And what was different from the last time is that the first time I did it, I was in kind of like a dream world. So even though I wasn't asleep, I wasn't feeling the withdrawals. But this, I'd just been up, going insane for like 8 or 9 days. I hadn't eaten in like 5 or 6 days. This was just, I was using less than like 1 cap a day probably, but just being able to get back to eating and sleeping regularly, I started to feel a lot better. But after like 3 days of that, I didn't want to go down the same path again. Certainly, I'm not giving up at this. So, I decided to go into the hospital. They were only able to give me like 1 Ativan, and then they recommended me to this like 7-day inpatient place, which I was hoping they would just put me on an Ativan taper, because I was pretty close to the end, but they insisted on doing it their way. Put me on like Subutex for like a week, which just ultimately ended up making things worse. So I still struggled after that. But after like a week, I decided to talk to the guy who runs the Ibogaine centers. He works at the one in Portugal. But I was able to work out a deal with them where they're gonna give us a discounted rate and do it the right way. So I'm gonna be doing that next week. And this video, it was kind of hard to share. I went back and forth whether I should wait to go out to the end result to make this video, but I decided I'm not really ashamed. This is all a journey, and I still made a lot of progress. I'm glad that I'm not on 150 milligrams of methadone anymore. But I also thought that it was important for me to kind of share. If for this, in case people are trying to do Ibogaine treatments, to be aware that places are trying to do this new protocol, which in my opinion just doesn't really work, and is kind of a waste of money. So I think the right way to do it is to just get the full dose of Ibogaine at the beginning, and that gets you through like 8 or 9 days, which is the worst of the withdrawal. But anyways, I'll let you guys know how the next leg of treatment goes. Peace.